Okay, so today I'm going to make a simple UI button that shows up and disappears when you press a button. So this is sort of the most basics of making a menu pop up and hide. There's way more complex versions that have more functionality that look cooler, but I want you to just sort of have the basics. That way, you can get a little menu showing up, right? And you can always make it better later. So first thing we're going to do is here I'm going to show you. So this is a game we're working on. This is a little chess game from one of our Academy of Games students. So you got these guys coming in. You can let's see, it's White's turn. Move the king, all that fun stuff. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little button up here that says settings, and then we're gonna have a quit and a restart game. So first thing we're gonna do is we're going to create a canvas, right? So I already have this canvas set up, but that's pretty simple. All you gotta do is right click in your scene. Here, create UI canvas, right? So that'll make a canvas. It'll look something like this. It won't have anything in here. This has like a text that says White's turn, Black's turn for the chess pieces. But yeah, you'll have a canvas, and first thing you'll notice if you double click on it, that it's ginormous. You see over here, itty bitty, these little dots. These are chess pieces. So you say, why is it so big? I think that's way too big for a canvas. But it's okay because this guy, this canvas, right, is on screen space. So what this means, right, if you go to canvas, your components, screen space overlay, it means that it's on your screen space, right? So this is your screen, right? It's just plopped onto there. So it's kind of like a HUD, in video games where no matter where you are on the bottom right corner, it shows your health or whatever, it's not in world space. It's not in the space of the actual game. So that's what screen space is, and that's why it's so big. It doesn't really matter how big it is, because you can see in game right here at the bottom, that's sort of where this shows up. So that's why it's so big. That's the first question I usually get. Okay, so let's make a button. We're going to make UI button. Cool. This is a button. I'm going to call it, always get into the habit of naming your game objects. It's a pretty good habit to get into, like this one. It should be, let's say, turn text. So button, let's call this settings button. And for now, it'll just be a normal button. What I do in the most basic, like this looks real Windows 95 kind of thing. So at least I just normally like take this off. So it's just like a normal square. It still doesn't look super cool, but at least it's not Windows 95 style. It's like Windows 2000 style. Okay, so yeah, you can pick the color here in settings button. Here, let me give you a little tour. It has an image component, just like any sort of UI. It's gonna have this image, right? And so if you wanted to change the image, you could put it here. I don't really have any images in here. I don't know, but if I could drag them, no, I can't. Okay. Um, yeah, if you did want to drag it, you want to make sure it's a sprite. So if you go in here, right up here where it says texture type, when you download an image, you can click this sprite thing, right? So here. I just do this to show you since I'm here. But let's say you had this image and you want it to show up here, right? All you got to do is go over here, change the texture type, and drag it in here, like that. All right, now imagine this is a cool image, not just this weird circle thing. Okay, so I'm gonna undo all this stuff, apply texture type. Okay, I don't know if that just messed up my particle system, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's what this image source image is. Right now I just took it away. That way it's just like a sort of blue rectangle. Down here where it says text, I can change the text and change it to settings. You can see that's kind of blurry, right? It doesn't look very nice. So the way I approach this is I'm going to make this, basically I'm going to make the scale smaller. So now it's itty bitty, but then I'm going to make the font bigger. So it's sort of like we're making it smaller, but we're adding more pixels to it. But now if you go like this, it's gonna disappear because this vertical overflow is in truncate, so it's gonna stop it from keeping going. And then this one is unwrap. I'm gonna do overflow, and bam, nice crisp settings. Maybe we can make it bold. Nice. And then let's see, since we're here, what I like to do if it's just like really basic, kind of just, starting out, I like to add at least a little bit of color. So what I do is I click on this drop eyedropper tool, right? So now anywhere you go, you can pick any color you want. I just pick the color, the button's color, and then I make it darker. That way it's kind of like, instead of just black, it kind of like fills in with the color. It feels a little bit better. These are just like little tips when I'm trying to prototype quickly and make things not look super bad. So I'm gonna grab this button, drag it to this corner, make it a little bigger. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, like I said, this is our prototype. We can make it look better. You probably, instead of wanting some text, you want maybe a little gear icon, something that looks more like a game. Normally, a good tip for UI, for user interface, for buttons, for anything like that, is you don't want to have text. If you have text, you're kind of not doing the UI right? If you can just have symbols that people can read quickly, then that's sort of the best approach. Makes it cleaner, makes it more intuitive, all that fun stuff. But okay, right now we have this button. Okay, so what we want to do with this button, I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to hit Control D and put this guy over here. Make it bigger. So this is going to be our restart button. Right, so basically when I press settings, I'm going to have a button that shows up that says restart. And again, Control D to duplicate. Whoa, wait, this is this guy. Why'd you go like that? I think I pressed enter. Let's pick another line. Restart. Another button down here. And this says quit. And then this button is going to say quit. I just have a button that says cancel. And I'll show you some tricks on this so you don't have to have a cancel button, but you can click anywhere. But for now, we'll just have a cancel button. Just, cancel will just hide this UI again. Cancel. And what we could do over here, this could go over here, or maybe here. Yeah, cancel. So here, I'm gonna check to make sure my streaming, my video recording is happening. Okay, looks good. Cool. So we have these buttons now, right? So a little summary. I made this button. To make a button, you right click, you hit UI, create button. And I just duplicated those, changed the names. I'm going to make another, I'm going to right click here and create empty, right? That just makes an empty game object. I'm going to use this sort of as a folder, right? I'm going to say settings, or not settings, menu. So I'm going to grab all these, shift click all these three, and then I'm going to open this. So that way, and just turn this off when on. See? That's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to leave this off. And this is, like I said, the most basic way, right? So you're trying to just get some menu out. You're just trying to test your game. Later, you can make it so when we turn on, an animation happens. The screen gets a little darker. Oh, wait, let's do that, actually. Let's make the screen darker. That's an easy one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add an image, right? I'm going to right-click inside this menu thing. I'm going to add an image, right? I'm going to call this BG background. Hit R. So if you hit W, E, or R, you can like change this little gizmo. I'm going to scale this bigger, like this, like this. Put this behind all these buttons. And I'm going to make this a little darker and a little transparent. And maybe like a little blue. There we go. Yeah, see? So whenever it does it, whenever you press a button, boom, this shows up. You see it in our game. Right, it makes everything dark. Can't see the chess pieces that get generated, but yeah. And then the idea is that you can press these buttons and stuff happens. So how do we make this appear? Just like we're doing it by hand, right? Like literally clicking this button. We just want to tell the computer to click this button instead of us doing it manually. So how we do that is every button has, if you go down here, it has this on click thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to add this little plus here. Whatever is in here happens when you click the button. So this is pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this menu, right? This is this guy. We're going to say turn it on, just like that. Now, for the code, that whole turning this object on is called set active. So you can do it in code, like in script, right? But this one already has this thing right here. This is game object, right? That's sort of our game object functionality. Game object and then set active, Boolean, right? So it's a true false. So we're accessing the script. We don't even have to write any code for this one, for the specific settings part. So activate, right? And so we turn this on. So when on click, we're going to grab this menu, we're going to set active to true. Pretty straightforward, this part. So that's pretty exciting. Unity can let you do a lot of cool things without too much coding. So settings, bam. And then, yeah, check it out. Now we're stuck. Some stuff happens, but no worries. Okay. Actually, I don't know what. Was that some sort of? Oh, I think. Let's see. Oh, look. Okay, I just found a little bug in our code that if there is no chess piece selected, it's going to give us a bug. So we can fix that. Let's do that. So now we have a chess piece selected. And then this happens. Cool. But you can see like the background happens. So we don't want that. We can fix that in a bit. Okay. So next step. When we turn this on, when we click on this, we turn this menu on, right? When we hit this cancel button, we want it to turn off. So maybe you can give it a try. Maybe pause the video here. And it's pretty much like this, right? But we want the opposite to happen. We want to turn it off. When we hit cancel, this menu disappears. So you can pause your video now and make it happen. Okay, so let's say you pause it and we're going to turn this on. We're going to click here, unclick. Going to drag, right, so we're inside the cancel button. We're going to drag this over here. We're going to go game object, set active to false. That's pretty much it. Now, there's going to be some weird stuff because our buttons are going through, but that's more of the game code. So we can ignore that for now because our menu is going to be that's sort of not the menu's problem for now. I don't want to go in and debug some code that's not menu related right now. So settings. Wait, hold on. Yeah. So let's do that. Okay. Settings, cancel. Settings, cancel. Yeah. No. Okay. Settings, cancel. Cool. Now let's see this restart. So what do we want to do when restart happens? The easiest way to restart is just to load the scene again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to, when we press that button, we want this scene to load. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a script here. Right, call it menu manager. And I'm going to call it, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to make two functions. One that's says restart, one that says quit. For restart, we're going to load the scene. We're going to load our first, we're going to load, let's see. We're going to load, I'm going to hit Control Shift B to go to our settings, or up here, build settings. This guy, Control Shift B. We're going to load sample scene. So right now, this scene is called sample scene. Cool to rename it something else at some point. Gonna load scene. This is scene one. So we could either load it by name, sample scene, but we're gonna change the name. So let's just call it, let's just load scene one. Okay, so we're in menu manager, right? This is the beginning of the script. Right now we don't need start. Okay. So we're gonna do public, right? Void Public because we're going to access it from the button. So anytime that you're accessing any functions outside of these two brackets, you need a public. Void because it doesn't return anything, right? We're not going to give, it's not going to tell us true or false or anything. It's just going to do its thing and then just go away. So restart, like that. This is a function that we are going to make, and all we got to do is we're going to go inside Unity using scene or Unity engine dot scene management. So that means that we're going to import all this library, right? That has a bunch of cool stuff we can do for managing the scene. So scene management has this thing called scene manager. And if I check in here, it has all this cool stuff. Like you can create a new scene. You can get all the scenes. You can get, a scene by the path. You can load scenes. So that's what we want. Loads a scene by its name or index in the build settings, right? So that's why we were looking at those build settings. Load scene one, right? Because it has that little one button. One button. Yeah, see this guy. And that's pretty much it. So that's how you restart. So it's cool, real simple ways of doing these kind of things. So let's say when restart button, right? How do we make a button do something when you click? You go here on click plus drag this menu, right? This menu has the script menu manager. So we're trying to access menu manager, right? Because that's where we wrote this code. So what we got to do is in restart, we drag our menu over here, right? And then if you can see here, now we have this menu manager. This is the thing we created. And in here, we have this thing called restart. Again, that's the thing. It'll only show up if this is public. So make sure that you make that public. And yeah, so that's a pretty straightforward one. You press settings. Here, actually, let's do this. We got to move our character around. This guy over here, this guy over here. I'm gonna press settings, we hit restart. Restart happens. The color changed a little bit. That's because our scene inside editor, when you load a scene, don't sort of freak out if your lighting is different because that's just an editor. It's just sort of the way that when it loads a scene, it doesn't change. It changes the light settings a bit. But in your game, when you build it, it won't do that. Cool. So that loads a scene. Now the last one we got to do is this quit button. And that one is also really simple. So we're going to create a function, right? It's public because we're going to access it from the button. No, we don't want that. We're just going to quit. We're going to call this, and this is pretty easy. Application quit. That's it. So with 2 lines, 2 little commands, you can set up your basic Unity scene. Now this one's actually not going to work in editor. We have to build it for it to actually happen. So here, let's plug this in. All right, so same thing. I'm adding on click. I'm dragging it. I am to menu manager and quit. That's pretty much it. That's all you got to do. Yeah. So if you have any questions, post them on the comments. Really simple UI stuff. So let's try to build this guy. I haven't built it here in this machine, so let's see what happens. It might take a little bit. Not Hess, just build montage music. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Chess, fun, exciting, and totally awesome strategy game. This game is going to be on mobile, one of our student games, real soon, next month. So make sure you check it out. Start. Oh, okay. Well, let's adjust our settings at some point real quick. Let's see, this is working. Settings. Yeah, we gotta adjust our placement, so it always adapts to the scale of the screen. So let's see, restart. Cool. See, the lighting doesn't change. Settings, cancel. Right, that one works. And then quit. Ta-da! We did it! Good job. Good job. Okay, so I almost forgot. Let's figure out this UI thing because here you could see it here. Like if I make this bigger, it sort of doesn't adjust with the screen size, right? It's suddenly going toward the center. But that's pretty easy to fix. The first thing we're going to do is let's pick a you don't have to do this, but this is just so you can kind of see. I'm gonna call this Android. So I'm gonna just set this game screen to a specific resolution. Call it Android landscape. Width 1920, height by 1080. Okay, cool. See, so this is how it's kind of looking if you have a 1920 by 1080 screen. You see the stuff is kind of in the middle. We don't want that. And then when you press, if you turned on this menu, that doesn't look cool. So let's fix that. So here in Canvas, we have this cool thing called Canvas Scaler, right? And so this is what sets for it to be adaptive, right? So depending on the screen, you kind of always want it to be in the same spot. First thing we're going to do is in UI scale mode. Right now it's constant pixel size. So it's literally always just going to be the same amount of pixels. The screen's bigger, it's just going to look like this. So we don't want that. Scale with screen size. Oh, look, that already looks a lot better. So with scale with screen size, it's kind of makes sense. Scale with screen size. And the bigger the screen size, the more it scales. To make it look decent, I'm gonna put our normal resolution here, what we expect. That we can kind of tweak things. So see here, this is kind of how it looks right now. Match width and height. I normally kind of put this in the middle, so it kind of averages out. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna sort of here. I'm gonna actually just select all this stuff. I'm gonna scale it to the spot we kind of think, right? And this will get you most of the way, right? So now you scale, make it bigger, or we can't make it bigger. So aspect. So all right, okay, cool. Let's check it out. If we had this screen like this, I mean, we're not going to, but you can see that it starts breaking. So like even here, maybe it would start breaking a bit on a different Android phone. So that's pretty easy to fix. I'm just gonna make this really big. There. The other thing we're going to do is work on these anchors, right? So it says anchor here on the transform, right? I have my button selected, like this button selected, right? I want it to always be anchored to this corner, which means that basically, like if it's going to move, it's always going to sort of have the same distance in this corner. So let's say like if the screen was like really long or something, it has to know like where we want to base our position off of, right? If it's off the center, maybe like for example this one, we don't want it to, if the screen scales, we don't want it to always be sort of, whatever, like 300 pixels from the right. We want it to be in the center, right? So in this case, we want it to always be like that, like let's say whatever, 30 pixels from the right, 30 pixels from the top. The way we do that is we change these anchors. So this is like the corner, right? The corner it's basing on it, or the position, the anchor. You can click on this little target looking thing. You can pick where your anchor is, anchor preset. So in this one, we want the top right. See this little thing changes. So now if this changes, it's always going to be based off this distance, right? So at the beginning, some of these things kind of are strange to think about, but it starts to make sense over time. Like you see, for example, settings. Let's see. As we scale it, and now it's sort of always in this corner. Versus, let's check out this text, this turn text. it's sort of getting really big because its anchor is the center, so it's always kind of off based on the center. So let's fix that one. So let's go to text, turn text. This one we want it to be based on the bottom corner. All right, now let's check it out. See, now it's always there. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. I'm gonna put this a little bit lower. This could, be. I think we could change things a little bit. It's a little hard to read, but again, I'm just focusing on making this UI. This should be anchored in center, so that's pretty set up. Yeah. So here, let's try to build it again. Control Shift B to build to make sure that it looks right. Build montage. Music. Second time, build faster. Nice, check it out. Oh, we left our settings on, but kind of get the gist. Nice. Look at this. It's kind of getting a little funky, but it's better. Yeah, right now when we restart the screen, this shows up because we left this on. We gotta turn this off in the game. And quit. Nice. Good job.